Assalamu alaikum, my name is Stephen, I'm 27 years old, I'm originally from Scotland and I live in Sydney, Australia, and I'm here to talk about my revert story, reverting to Islam. So, a bit about me: I was born in Scotland, was raised a Catholic, had communion, confirmation and attended church regularly up until around the age of 10. Throughout my high school years, my teenage years, early to mid-20s, I really wasn't interested in religion whatsoever. I would have probably told you it was the root of all evil. I very clearly remember saying that on many an occasion. But I understood people had their faiths and their beliefs, and it just wasn't something for me at that time. I would say in 2023 is when I started having questions about life, purpose of life, how to feel fulfillment. As I had a good salary, I have a beautiful partner, I had a wonderful apartment here in Sydney. Everything on paper, as life should go, was going brilliantly for me, but I wasn't satisfied. I was devoid of any purpose, a real lack of fulfillment, and there was a missing piece to the puzzle there. So this is when I started to, I suppose, I didn't consciously choose to go and look at religion as one aspect that might fill that void. A Muslim friend over here, I would ask questions very briefly, very generic, very basic questions about the religion. I then went on holiday in October to celebrate a wedding with all my friends, and was living with my cousin who's also a revert, and his partner who is born Muslim. And again, I began to ask a few more questions here and there. So that was October of 2023. Between then and December, I would say it was in the back burner of my mind. I would do little bits here and there, bits of research, find information out, so on, and have good conversations with my cousin about Islam. But it was, again, at this point, it was never something I could really imagine. It was just little bits of research here and there, as I say. It was probably the turn of the year I started to continue my research and do a little bit further. I would say December time, and then into the turn of the year. December time I was doing a lot of research. January time I was really interested in Islam, and I actually stood outside a mosque on 2 occasions, just looking to go in and have conversation with someone and ask questions. And I kind of knew at this point I was probably going to revert to Islam, but I turned away, stepped away and turned around, walked away from the mosque, didn't go in. I was too frightened, too nervous, too much anxiety, just couldn't do it. That was until February the 15th of 2024 when I eventually did pluck up the courage to go into the mosque. I went into Sydney CBD Masjid, spoke with brother Muhammad there, and he phoned his friend Tyrone, who's a revert, and they both sat me down, offered me tea, coffee, food, and had a conversation with me, which is exactly what I was looking for. I asked questions, they answered. They asked questions of me, I answered. At no point did they ever ask me to take my shahada, which is what I found really flattering. I know that if you see people preaching on the street, it can be quite pushy, and that's what I was nervous of. So that gave me a real level of comfort. But again, I left, still wouldn't say I had questions as such. Kind of knew at that point I was going to revert to Islam, but for 6 weeks I was living in denial. It was hard to, I think a lot of reverts do this, put it off, just can't imagine actually making the change. And it was on the 26th of March 2024, 6 weeks after that initial conversation in the mosque, that I decided to take my shahada. And alhamdulillah, the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm so happy. So much more comfortable, so much more focused, so much more driven. I know what I want from life, and it really was the final piece of the